I would like to ask the Minister for Policy and Reform when his office will commence the audit of the island's built heritage assets as outlined in the action plan to improve the planning system, what resources and expertise are in place to conduct this work, and if he will make a statement.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully defer to the action plan to improve the planning system, which states that during 2020 an audit of the island's built heritage assets will be undertaken to ensure we conserve and celebrate the island's best and unique architecture. There is an action plan behind that document, and I'm working closely with the Chief Minister and the Minister for Environment, Food and Agriculture to make sure that action is ongoing to deliver that action plan promise.
Supplementary, Mrs. Maska.
Thank you, Minister. Surely, if it's December 2020, as outlined in the action plan, the amount of work involved in this is substantial, and the expertise and the resources that would be required to undertake this work are substantial. I just wonder if he has a plan that he could share with us as to how this matter is being approached, because I wonder if he will agree with me that whilst this audit remains unattended to, that there are buildings out there that are very worthy buildings that are always at risk until this audit is carried out.
Reply, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, and I agree that this audit is important, and that's why it's in the action plan, which the Chief Minister asked for in his first statement to this Honourable Court when he called for reform of the planning system. Manx National Heritage have engaged with me about offers and plans, how they could contribute. In fact, the action plan consultation asked about involving Manx National Heritage in that process, and the public was supportive of engaging bodies like that. Department of Environment, Food and Agriculture has done lots of good work through Mangis and is working a lot through its registered buildings officers in terms of the built environment, historic built environment, as well as other aspects of the built environment, and could actually carry on with this. And I also want to commend the Honourable Questioner, who I stepped aside from this, but she chairs the Culture Vannin subcommittee on building conservation, which draws together a great number of self-help and voluntary organisations, architects, representatives to an extent from the officer community of government, to actually come up with suggestions. And I do think inside the Building Conservation Forum work stream there is an action plan to help government go about this work, and I really appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody else in government does.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I was wondering, Mr. President, if the Minister has considered, as part of this overall plan and the people who have been involved, whether there's scope for training volunteers. We have a huge amount of people interested in our history and our heritage on this island, and perhaps with a bit of training and a few resources that are available to civil servants, whether that be Public Records Office or Manx National Heritage Archives, whether they could actually be undertaking some of the groundwork for some of the buildings that they might feel quite passionately about, and of course that could be quality assured by the people who would undertake the audit, and maybe making more use of this resource where people are genuinely interested on this island.
Minister.
Citizens' initiative are always valuable. Firstly, I agree. Secondly, I agree that there's a huge network of wonderfully gifted, wonderfully motivated people who could contribute in this way. But I think some of those people might say what you describe is what happens. So often when there's a building at risk, it's often those volunteers who prepare the historic and the architectural significance reports already, and we can all think of people in that category. They have been the sort of people who've made proposals to the Building Conservation Forum. So what we need is we need to make sure we've got the right template for that citizens' initiative, and I believe that's a project that the Building Conservation Forum is working on. And what we need to do is to make sure that the law and the computer systems to record this data and make it available is actually fully developed. And I will undertake today to make sure that this summer, by the end of this summer, the Minister for Environment, Food and Agriculture and myself can make a categoric statement on how we will undertake that work that's going to take place before the end of 2020, and put that on the Chief Minister's governance framework for the planning system review, because we have made a commitment and we deliver on our commitments with action.